What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Sheehan Show with myself, Sean Sheehan, and my brother Patrick Sheehan, long time
Hello there.
MMA photographer, MMA fan. If you haven't watched or listened to this show before, what basically happens is we come out here to the beautiful man cave. We haven't spoken about it. I don't know what Patrick's going to ask me. I give him free reign. He's going to ask me questions. I'm going to give my thoughts on them. We're going to sit here for 15, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, whatever it is. And I'm going to wax lyrical about the world of MMA or anything else. You know what we should do? We should actually, we should probably have discussed this. We should add like a non-MMA topic to every one of these and talk about it. Yeah. And I think
I have a good one.
What, Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones.
Yeah. I was thinking about doing like a whole Game of Thrones podcast. Yeah. I don't know if it'd be good or not.
I was going to ask you the same thing. That's weird.
I might even get Damon Martin on. Damon Martin, if you haven't seen it, he wrote.
Put me on.
Yeah, well, what would you know about Game of Thrones?
I definitely have the world record for having watched Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Yeah, a week I watched all 7 series in a week.
Okay, we'll get to that, Dean. We better get to the MMA first. But yeah, if anyone watches Game of Thrones and stuff, Damon Martin put up a great article over on Nerdcore Movement, I think it was. He tweeted out anyway earlier on. I read the whole thing. It's great, like a recap of what happened before and kind of maybe a preview of what might happen. But anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit, Dean.
Well, actually, I bought pop vinyl of Ned Stark.
Ned, really?
Ned Stark.
For how much?
For €13.
Is that all? Not too bad.
But it's not the beheaded one. There's a special edition beheaded one with all like blood inside it. But that's really expensive. It's hard to get.
Go on, MMA.
Anyway, MMA. Well, that's supposed to be big news at the moment. TJ Dillashaw. Yeah, so he got caught for EPOs with 2 years suspension. Dwayne has came out Instagram. He said he's not the first, nor will he be the last. But yes, it is inexcusable. People make mistakes, but he's still my ninja. Hashtag still my ninja. Hashtag Dillashaw with the pray.
Has TJ said anything yet? I don't think he has. Is he? I saw his.
No.
I saw earlier. Who was it? Someone sent me like his nutritionist or something. Said this like big, Shakespearean thing. Like
Sam
what?
Calvita.
Yeah, God. The second you see someone going to things like that, saying like this is the most scientific weight cut there's ever been, I'm like. you know, you just and it just goes off
like
in your head.
Like, it was more endurance, isn't it?
I don't know. EPO's like I think Luke Thomas put up a thing yesterday saying that you can get like technical aids to help you do what EPO does.
It sounds like a disease.
Yeah, technical aids. But like EPO. Okay, this is almost 100% incorrect, but I'm gonna say it anyway because what else would I be doing here? But EPO, like, I think it like. I don't know. It makes you breathe better, breathe faster. It helps your lungs. It's your blood. It makes you like it makes your endurance just a little bit better. So like all the cyclists and stuff, that's kind of what they were on. But EPO has kind of gone out of fashion a little bit and it's funny because do you know Dwayne Ludwig obviously is TJ Dillashaw's trainer, and his head trainer was Bas Rutten, who does that. Do you know the thing for his face, the breedy mask, fucking snake oil bullshit, and that's supposed to like. It's supposed to make your lung capacity and all, and make you obviously go further and go faster and longer.
Feeds you air to inflate your lungs like a balloon.
But that's bullshit. Like, there's no way that works. Like, unless you're fucking wearing it 24/7.
It's like cupping and all that. They love that stuff.
Cupping is absolute lot of shit. Like, just makes me. But TJ anyway, 2 years out for the first offense. 33. I think TJ is like way older than you'd expect. Is TJ older than Wonderboy? No, he isn't. There's someone that is
like McGregor's age or something, or younger. You know, well,
he's only 3 years older. He does look
baby
young,
face.
He looks like 25, but yeah, look, 2 years coming back at 35, and someone said it yesterday, and it makes sense. The smaller weight class as well. You don't see lads going as old in the smaller weight class. Okay, probably everyone's probably saying, "Well,
Dominic Cruz isn't that much older than him, so is he?
Floyd Mayweather. No, what age is Dominic Cruz? Yeah,
he seems to be around forever compared to Dillashaw.
36 to 37 probably. But look, there's always a fucking double-edged sword in this. Is that okay? We want TJ Dillashaw to be fighting. Like I said it 6 months ago, maybe that the fight I want to see more than anyone else, any other fight in the UFC was TJ Dillashaw and Mighty Mouse. And now both of them are gone for the UFC. Obviously, Mighty Mouse for different reasons, but I want to see TJ Dillashaw fighting, and I want to see all these lads who failed test fighting. But I'm very much caught in the middle of whether you say it as a good thing or a bad thing. I know that most people will say it's a very good thing. We need to get these drug cheats out, and then you have like the likes of Luke Thomas, who has done absolutely phenomenal work. I think in this area, Luke Thomas has done in this area has been like what everyone should try to do in MMA. I said a quote on the podcast last week, and I think it's a quote from Davos Seaworth, I think, from Game of Thrones, or one of them anyway. He said, like, give me the eyes of one honest man over what everybody knows to be true. And I think that's very true. Like, and Luke has done that brilliantly with the PED thing. He's okay. He might go a little bit overboard in you know, his opinions on it.
He's pro drugs and everything.
Yeah,
like
and I don't think he is, but he might go a little bit overboard that way. But I think what he does is he tells you the truth about certain things, which we kind of willfully ignore just because we say, oh, these lads are cheating and we want to get rid of them. And I think that's a brilliant thing. We need someone like that in the sport. We need someone like that covering the sport, and I think he does it brilliantly. And I've never really, as people listening to this now, I've never really jumped on a side whether, you know, PEDs are good or bad. And you know, it's not that they're good or bad. If you're caught like taking fucking EPO and loads of different things, you're caught red-handed, you should obviously be banned, I think. And I think Luke would agree with that. I think most people would agree with that, under these certain rule sets anyway. But should the rule sets be changed, should certain things be illegal under USAD and under the WADA code and all, there's lots of grey areas, there's lots of unknown science, and we just, you know, everyone's saying, oh, John Jones failed loads of times because and TJ Dillashaw's getting 2 year ban.
Picograms.
Yeah, but like John Jones might have, you know, John Jones mightn't be as guilty as people make him out, or he might be. We just don't know because the science is not there. Because with his oral turinabol thing, the test it's one test. You know, one test was done by one person to show the effects of oral turinabol. So, you know, the science is not there. I think Luke does a great job in telling us about the science and telling us what's right and what's wrong, or what's proven and what's unproven. I think we need someone like that. But anyway, TJ out for 2 years. Look, he'll be back. He'll be 35, but I don't think he can be the force he once was.
Yeah. Oh, he'll only be 35 when he comes back.
He's 33 now, I think, isn't he?
He's 33. Oh,
I think so,
yeah. So, Alistair Overeem, he was doing an interview with, I think it was with Ariel. He was saying that he would be already retired if he hadn't been moving around from gym to gym. Yeah. That it's kind of helped to keep him fresh, and he says he'd be compromised if he was still in the same gym all the time.
Is he talking about the gym he started with, or any gym? I wonder, because I can understand what he's saying. If you're fighting as long as, how long is Alistair Overeem fighting? Maybe 15 years or something like that.
You get like compromised. It's not for everybody, but I have been compromised a couple of times in my career.
Oh well, okay, that makes
sense. It was to do or die time, and I had to make some changes. Sometimes I didn't want to make changes, but I still had to make changes if I wanted to continue.
He's probably talking about then kind of getting stuck in a rut, and you have the same training over and over. Lots of guys are like that. Like, they just don't like the same training over and over again.
Some of them that move to Greg Jackson to get a new lease of life, and you know.
Yeah, but then you have John Jones, who's trained Greg Jackson's for his apart from the first 3 or 4 fights of his career, his whole career, he's probably there 10 years now, and John Jones is as good as ever. Like, you know, there's lots of guys are like that. It's different. I was going to say different horses for different courses there with Alistair Overeem, but that'd be but you know what I mean? Like, some fella could be training somewhere for 3 years, and it's like, this coach is great, but we're doing the same thing. You know, he's telling me that I'm getting the same voice all the time, and he maybe needs a new voice, and just you know, kind of a breath of fresh air in your career. So that, you know, it does make sense. And with Overeem as well, he's kind of changed up his fighting style an awful lot. So if you're fighting a kind of maybe a Dutch kickboxing style, you know, when you're 35 or 38 years of age, whatever he is, that mightn't be the best style for him. Maybe he needs a more boxing defensive style, as we've seen him fighting with recently. So maybe that's what he's talking about.
But you know, that actually feeds into the new gym that opened in Dublin as well. Do you know, they renamed their gym.
Yeah, Chris Fields.
And it's good. Yeah, it's good to have more variety too, isn't it? And they'll have their own look and their own. So that'll be good for a fighter to you know, to learn a new style or to.
And the thing about them as well, they did a great interview. Shout out to Peter Carroll and Niall over in the Eurobash. Tom King and Chris Fields run it, and they're just a breath of fresh air. I don't know if you listen to that or not, but they're talking about, like, we don't want lads talking shit online. We want lads going in fighting and having great fights and going through cage warriors and earning their way to get to the big money and earning their way to get to the UFC. And he, you know, Chris Fields said it straight out that we want fighters in the UFC in 3 or 4 years or whatever it was. And that's what I really think that's what fighters need. Fighters don't need to be going into the UFC or Bellator as 3-0, and okay, it's great if you're 3-0 and you get paid 10 grand for a fight or 15 grand or whatever, but what if that money dries up? What if you lose 3 fights and you're back on 500 quid? Would you be better off, right, taking your 500 quid now, fighting 6 or 7 fights for that money and then getting to the UFC? And I know you're probably getting more than 500 quid in Cage Warriors. I'm not saying Cage Warriors, but I'm saying, you know, outside of Cage Warriors on the local scene or whatever. Like, to me, if you want to be someone fighting in Cage Warriors and BAMMA and there's nothing wrong with that. Like a guy like Jack Mason, he's a really, really good fighter, fought in Cage Warriors and other places for years and years and years. There's no problem with that. If you want to be that sort of fighter, then go and do that. Fight for, you know, Bellator or and not everyone fighting for Bellator is like that, but fight for the money early. But if you want to be a UFC champion, if that's your goal in the future, I think the best way to do it is look at Conor McGregor. And look what he did with 12 or 14 or 16 fights or whatever it was before he got to the UFC. He probably had 10 fights before he got to Cage Warriors, or I think he'd 1 or 2 Cage Warriors fights in the middle. But you know what I mean? Have those fights on the local scene, build yourself up, improve, and then get to the level you want to get to. There's no, I really, really think we need to look more at boxing in that realm. We need to look more at Anthony Joshua having 20 fights.
It used to be looked at as a negative. Yeah, oh look, he's 10-0, 20-0.
I totally disagree with that.
It's not about the number, it's more about the experience.
It's about the experience, exactly. And MMA is, you have to be more experienced at MMA, I think, than any other sport, because it's improving so much. Like MMA, if you have one deficiency in your game or one piece of your game where you're not experienced, it's likely going to be exposed. If you go in and you're a great striker and you're absolutely brilliant, you've great takedown defense, you've great takedowns and everything like that, and then you hit a takedown and the guy gets you in one position and turns over and your jiu-jitsu isn't good enough, you're going to get submitted. And you could be better that guy as a striker, better wrestler, better takedown defense, and still lose. That's what MMA is like. So I really think putting in those rounds, putting in those hours for maybe, you know, small money, whatever you want to call it, if you want to get to the very top, I think that's the ladder. As Littlefinger said, chaos is not a pit, it's a ladder. So you need to get yourself into the chaos to climb the ladder to get up to the top, I think. But Game of Thrones, way. Beautiful.
Yeah, we're bringing it in. I'm telling you.
Go on, what's next?
So, Cormier.
Yeah. He's
been on TMZ. He said they need to get that fight signed as quickly as possible, Lesnar. He wants to get it booked. He said he's... Is
he fit again?
Yeah.
Is he?
He said, He said, get him on the phone right now. If you haven't called him yet, do it today. What are you waiting for? Let's get this shit on the books.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Brock Lesnar lost his WWE Universal title to Seth Rollins at WrestleMania last Sunday. John Jones is fighting Thiago Santos. The thing about that is, if DC, okay, what have we now? We're close to May, so May, June. They wouldn't be ready for International Fight Week, I don't think. So it'll probably be the July, August, September, maybe. So yeah, let's make it happen. That fight has been... It's been talked about obviously for about a year now. The heavyweight division is maybe getting held up a little bit. So yeah, let's make it happen. Look, DC wants to fight because it's big money. Brock Lesnar obviously wants to come back to have another fight to earn big money. Or does he? I'm gonna think about it. And Brock Lesnar is going to be wrestling, I believe, at the Saudi Arabia show for WWE, and I think that's in May or June. It's been moved back anyway. It's supposed to be more or closer to now, but they pay big money as well. So, you know, the best way for Brock Lesnar to get money out of Dana White is to say, I'm going to be staying in WWE. The best way for Brock Lesnar to get money out of Vince McMahon is to say, I'm going to the UFC. So Brock Lesnar is happy enough to play this game. He's happy enough to say, come on, DC, I'll fight you. Meanwhile, he's in the negotiation room with Vince McMahon trying to get more money. So, look, I want to see the fight. I think it'll be fun. DC deserves, I think, a big money fight. Brock Lesnar probably doesn't deserve a heavyweight title fight, but he's probably going to get it anyway. So, there you go.
Yeah. Chael Sonnen has a fight coming up, Bellator 222. With Lyoto, yeah. I was actually listening to this on the MMA, or he was trying to drum up a bit of controversy. Yeah. He said he injured Randy Couture, his teammate, and that he wants to get him back for that.
He front kicked Randy,
didn't he? Was it?
He was Lyoto knocked him out the front kick, didn't he, to the face? He knocked out Randy Couture,
so he said, he wants to get him back.
Yeah, apparently Chael has been like really complimentary of him. And
he was, even then he was like, he just like, oh, but he said this and this and this, but he hurt Randy, and I want to get him back for that.
I think what Chael needs is, see, Chael, when you're doing a podcast like he does, and you know you're giving your opinions all the time, you can't be as kind of balls out and going mad in a press conference like he used to be. So you have to kind of change things up a little bit. But I think he needs, what Chael needs to do is he kind of needs to abandon his own audience a little bit and go for him at the press conference and come out with the lines.
He was doing it with Wanderlei and everything about the shoe.
Yeah, he
was.
He
had that podcast.
He was, but maybe he'll. I didn't actually see there was a press conference yesterday as well. Or yesterday.
Oh yeah,
I didn't see that yet.
Was that a phone one or was it an in-person one?
I think it was in person. Yeah, but look, wins the fight. It's a good bit away anyway. I think is it and. Hopefully, like I love a bit of Chael. Chael's always fun. He's Chael used to be a guy who you could listen to and go, it's bullshit. I used to call it Scientology, everything he's saying. But now I think he's getting a bit better. I think he's making a bit more sense now. But
I noticed that too. Yeah,
I like a bit of Chael anyway. Shout out.
So Ross Pearson, of course, announced his retirement. Do you think he'll be back? Of
course,
he's 34.
Everyone's back. Hopefully, he won't be. But when he is only 34. And give it a year, and a bare knuckle boxing fight comes up, or a Bellator are coming to Sunderland, and they want to give him a fight. I'd be surprised if he wasn't back, but I hope he's not. He's taken, what was it? Like, geez, I can't remember. Was it 8 of his last 10 fights he's lost or something like that? He's lost lots of fights recently. He was a very good fighter. Look at obviously a kind of a journeyman UFC fighter, if you want to say that, a guy that's stuck around for an awful long time, and there's kind of lots of him, but I'm not sure if they're a dying breed these days, because him and maybe the likes of Joe Lozon, and not so much Diego Sanchez, because he fought for a title and he was maybe close to the top level at the start of his career, but if a guy loses 5 or 6 fights now, I don't think they're sticking around in the UFC like Ross Pearson or Joe Lozon or someone like that did. But look, he was a very good fighter, a good. That season of Tough, the Tough Smashes season, where he was the coach in that, wasn't he? I think he was. Yeah, that was the best season of Tough ever. A good technical fighter who improved an awful lot, but just got to don't be coughing on the podcast.
Sorry, I went off mic.
Yeah, got to an age where he probably should be retiring right now. Go on.
Yeah. So this big press conference is coming up. So at the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia, featuring Dana, John Jones, Amanda Nunes,
boring.
Henry Cejudo,
boring.
Rose Namajunas, as your man says, as well as respective challengers for their upcoming bouts: Thiago Sanchez, Holly, Marlon Moraes, and Jessica Andrade.
That sounds like it's going to be boring as shit, doesn't it? Doesn't be no one really talking much shit there. Amanda Nunes tries. Who's she fighting? Holly Holm. Holly Holm's not going to talk shit.
Kevin Lee will be in attendance.
Oh, really? Okay, they could talk a bit of shit then.
Gustafson and Anthony Smith will be there as well.
They won't talk shit.
Yeah, so
not really looking forward to that. I won't lie.
I thought I saw something else though that said that there could be more or something.
Maybe
they might have Daniel and Brock there.
I'm looking forward to seeing how John Jones gets on against Thiago Santos, and not just Thiago Santos.
Surprise thing at the end where
maybe Brock
also Brock Lesnar.
Ariel Ruin. I'm only I hope he does. It'd be so hilarious. What was I going to say?
Brett got it.
I was looking at kind of Thiago Santos there recently, and looking at Johnny Walker as well, and thinking about them maybe being the next 2 challengers for John Jones. And thinking about like the only way John Jones I think is going to lose. Well, not the only way he's going to lose. He could lose to a fighter who's much better than him as well. But I think the most likely way he's going to lose in 2019, or close to that, is by someone hitting him with a big shot and knocking him out, because and not a lucky shot, like a well played shot or whatever, but Thiago Santos is dangerous, and Johnny Walker I think is even he is a hitter, and Johnny Walker is even more dangerous. So I'm looking forward if both of those fights happen.
John Jones is a big game plan guy, isn't he? Johnny Walker is a guy that's hard to game plan for, because he's unpredictable,
and he hasn't that much tape on him as well recently, because he's finished all his fights in like 15 seconds. So I
can't wait for that.
I wish they made that fight now, because the unfortunate thing about that is, if let's say John Jones goes up to heavyweight maybe or something, or takes, gets injured after this fight, and Johnny Walker has to have another fight. Like Johnny Walker's next fight is probably going to be a tough fight. I was thinking about Gustafson,
and his post-fight celebration could be tough as well.
Gustafson is fighting Anthony Smith, I think you said there. So it could be a tough fight he's getting next, and maybe he'll lose that before he gets the John Jones fight, or maybe it goes a little bit longer and John Jones can see a bit more of him to game plan towards. But I'm looking forward to those 2 fights anyway, if they happen. Hopefully, or I want Jones to move to heavyweight, but if he doesn't, let's see them.
Yeah, that should be interesting.
What have you next?
So there's an announcement being retired, or a retirement announcement being announced. Max Holloway says he's retiring. He's going driving for Porsche. You didn't see Embedded? No, he was in Embedded driving a Porsche racing car.
Really?
He loved it so much he said he's going to retire.
Okay, was there any mountain climbing on that Embedded? Was there any?
There was, yeah.
Was
he
there?
said every place I go to, I try to see the sights. And he was
really? Was he boxing up on the mountain like that?
He raced one of his teammates, and his teammate beat him.
Yeah.
So he wasn't happy about it.
No good.
He said, "You're never going to be on Embedded again."
Was he getting a haircut?
No.
Was he tiny suitcase?
No. Yeah, there was.
There was a suitcase. Oh, I must go in there. I must get a screenshot of that.
Yeah, I'm not sure actually. There was mountain climbing anyway.
Like Embedded is still okay, but it's just
it's
the
short
same
enough
thing.
that it doesn't
it's the
piss you
same
off.
thing.
It's not
every
like
time.
tough that you have multiple hours.
It doesn't piss you off. Yeah, but people still think it's great and think it's like fresh and all. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not anymore. But
no.
Anyway,
yeah, they need to do something else. Yeah.
They do.
Japan's Kichi Konomoto is joining Bellator.
Yeah, and next story, go on there. What else have you?
Okay, you don't know who he is. He's vastly experienced, apparently.
Maybe this is one of these lads that I talked about in the podcast.
He was in the UFC, Rising Fight Federation, Pancrase. He's 20-7-2.
Fair play to him.
He's 37. Anyway,
I'll have to look him up, I suppose, and have a look. I literally talked like 10 minutes about not writing off
sounds
lads.
familiar anyway.
No, I don't know. Maybe it is. I have such a terrible memory these days. I can't remember. There's just too many fights, and every time I'm doing a rewatch or the podcast at the weekend or looking forward to the podcast, I maybe watch like 30 fights every week or parts of fights anyway. And like when you watch that much stuff, you can't help but forget what's just happened like 2 weeks ago, or forget names. It's impossible. It's impossible. There's just no way. And I don't know. Maybe someone tell me about him. He could be good.
Ronda Rousey, she broke her right hand.
Yeah.
At the weekend. Did
you watch any WrestleMania?
I watched the Rousey one.
Yeah,
that's all I watched. Someone saying that the volume was a bit up on the mics and that you could hear them kind of giving each other instructions. Or something.
Yeah, they did that because they wanted. Dave Meltzer said it, but they wanted like the sound to echo off the ring more because it's such like a vast arena that the echo wasn't as good or something like that. But for WrestleManias, and then I think it's for the whole crowd as well, so they can hear it better or some shit. But I don't know. But yeah, it happens. It's funny actually. There's this one guy, Elias. He's like a guitarist, and he plays his guitar, and he has like the microphone on his ear. Oh yeah. And one time someone came in and attacked him, obviously, and they forgot to cut off the microphone. So like he had it right there, and he's like, "Okay, yeah, you hit me now." And it's like on the microphone, you could hear it. Like the whole crowd could hear it. It was hilarious. But yeah, it wasn't a great match. It's a 7-hour-long show, WrestleMania. And so everyone was just tired,
Ronda,
and they couldn't get up for it.
She's good at throws, judo throws, but everything else.
It wasn't a great match. It was probably maybe not her worst match, but it was up there. It wasn't a great match at all. But the Daniel Bryan Kofi Kingston match.
The ending was terrible as well.
Yeah, it was just weird, and they did it last night in SmackDown. They just didn't even show the ending. They just acted like it never happened. So obviously it was a botch, I think. Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, so Patricky Ferrer has after getting wrist surgery, so he's out for a while. Yeah, he's injured.
Is this Bellator getting on Sky after like influencing you? You're doing an awful lot of Bellator talking. Is Scott Walker paying you off or something here? What's going on?
Yeah, he don't pay me nothing. Carolina versus Alexa Grasso has been booked for UFC 238.
That could be interesting. Alexa Grasso is a person who needs to improve, I think, but I think she could be really, really good. She's lost a couple in the UFC, or one at least in the UFC. And Carolina is a tough fight for anyone. I think she might be a little bit long for Carolina, maybe. But I think Carolina will probably win that. But it's an interesting time, isn't it, at 115 pounds? Like, because as you mentioned there, Andrade is fighting Rose Namajunas. Tatiana Suarez looks like the on-crown queen there. I think she's just going to win that belt against whoever she's fighting. She's just too good.
The female
but
Habib.
Nina Ansaroff has improved so much, and Tatiana Suarez is probably going to make her look bad, unfortunately, but she's not as bad as I don't think she's going to make her look. And I think there's lots of good fights for her, even if she does lose to Tatiana Suarez here soon. But it's it's interesting now for 115-pound division. Yeah.
So Brennan Ward is after signing with BKFC.
He signed with another one there last year, the one that went out of business, I think.
Yeah. Did a load of fighters didn't get paid for that or something?
I think it was the one. Yeah. That's the problem with this. I was on Submission Radio there last night. I was talking to lads, probably didn't even know yet, but. The bare knuckle thing, we can have this kind of righteous indignation about it, but I think it won't last. So is there any need really? Because there's no way that you can pay Paulie Malignaggi and Artem Lobov and not close down. Like unless you're a billionaire or something. And this dude running it doesn't seem like he is that. So I
should just cut off their wages. So.
Yeah, that's probably the way to do it.
Yeah.
But look,
is it like does it look worse than it is though?
No, I think it is. That's the problem we talked about on the podcast this week. If you obviously you didn't fucking listen.
I did. Yeah, it still looked hard. Those punches did, but are you not just going to smash your hand if you really throw 100% power? Do you think they were throwing 100% power?
Of course they were. Yeah, they were throwing. They were getting rocked all over the place. The problem with this is we listen to fucking Joe Rogan too much. Joe Rogan said on his podcast 50 times that, man, it'd be safer without gloves. They wouldn't take as much damage. All it's doing is protecting their hands and making their wrists stronger so you can throw harder punches. And yeah, he's probably right a little bit.
Hand wraps and
But they're still getting fucking knocked around the best. Still getting the shit beat out of them. Still changing their face for the rest of their lives. Like, is that going to help you when you go back to MMA when you cut every 2 seconds after getting your face fucking, you look like the mountain after Oberyn Martell? Like, what the fuck? Like, you know, it's I think it's too much. It's bare knuckle is just, it's too much. It really is. There's just too much damage. It's too visceral. And also I think stand up fighting in a cage with MMA gloves is too much as well. Like, the people have done that before, like K1 with MMA gloves. I think that's too much. I really do. And it's not just because it's bare knuckle.
More entertaining.
Yeah, but that's too raw. Like, it's too. You need the takedowns. You need the jiu-jitsu and the fence work as well. It's just too much. But yeah, look, fair play to. I wouldn't say anything about these guys going in, getting the money and getting out. I have no problem with that. But yeah, look, it's not really for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Go on.
So we had, do you know, you forget about fighters sometimes how massive they actually are in their own countries.
Valentina, is it?
Yeah, that was unreal. Did you see that?
Yeah, where is it? Kyrgyzstan or something?
Kyrgyzstan.
I don't know.
Kyrgyzstan.
Yeah.
Yeah, massive. And
like,
she met the president and everything. Yeah, it's
like,
so cool.
I think it's. I put up the stat there. If you Google hashtag useless fact of the day, you'll see it, or UFOTD. I think only 11 countries ever have won a UFC title.
Oh yeah.
So for them to be
on the belt now as well.
No, she won't, because it was only the first 8 or something. So I think Ireland was the last one, maybe, was it, or England maybe?
Oh right. Yeah. Oh, so they're not. They won't add on. They should add on every time.
Yeah, I think that's stupid as well. But there's only a few. So like, it's huge
maybe
for
the next belt or something
for a country to to win. And she's obviously a really good fighter as well. It's great. I didn't think that would happen. Like, I was kind of shocked when I saw it, and obviously a similar sort of thing has happened for Habib and for Stipe, even when he went back to Cleveland, and other people. Holly Holm had a big thing as well, although she didn't win the title, did she? No, she didn't. Or she did. Sorry, she did when she beat Ronda. Yeah. It didn't really happen for McGregor that much, because I think after he won, he kind of stayed in America for a while and stuff. It's great, and it's great to see MMA all around the world.
Yeah, so finally we'll have a look at the card the weekend.
Yes.
We'll just have a look up through it.
Before we get to is there anything on the undercard there before we get to the top two?
Undercard, no, yeah.
Yeah, go to the undercard first.
Oh, the undercard has maybe the greatest name in MMA history.
Yes.
Yeah. A person called Boston Salmon.
Boston Salmon?
that's their real name. It's not the nickname.
How do they spell salmon?
Exactly as you'd imagine.
S-A-L-M-O-N?
Yeah.
Fucking salmon.
Boston Salmon.
Maybe it's salmon from Hardy Bucks, is it?
Yeah, it's his American cousin.
Who's
Boston.
He's fighting?
He's fighting Khalid Taha.
Oh yeah. Anything else on the undercard?
Yeah, so Brandon Davis versus Randy Costa.
Yeah.
Poliana Botelho versus Lauren Muller.
Yeah.
Mueller. Montel Jackson versus Andy Sumic.
Montel Jackson sounds like he has a daytime TV show.
Yeah, this is how we do it. That was the singer.
Yeah,
was it Montel?
I don't know.
Curtis Millender versus Belal Muhammad. Oh, that'd be a good fight. That's probably the head of the prelims. Boston Salmon, of course, versus Khalid Taha.
Yeah. Max
Griffin versus Zelim Imadev.
Max Griffin is good.
Yeah. So Wilson Hayes versus Alejandro
Pantoja. That's a great fight.
Pantoja's very good.
The best fight in the undercard, I think. Yeah. Fly
and
never die.
Jalen Turner.
Oh yeah, he's good as well.
Max Frevola.
This man can't
Matt
speak.
Frevola. Sorry, yeah.
Go on. Main card.
Ovan Saint-Preux versus Nikita Krylov.
The
last time we did the Sheehan show was Krylov fighting as well. I just remember talking about
Krylov. They fought before, as Graham reminded me on the podcast, and Krylov got Von Prue choked by him. So yeah, that should be like Krylov is really good on the feet, but when it goes to the ground, he's like a fish up a tree. Like, he's just he's no use. But if he improves an awful lot there, Krylov's very good. Like, he's a very good fighter on the feet, very good striker, very good head kicks and stuff like that. So, you know, if he stands up with Oven St. Preux, who can't jab, it should be.
He's famously can't jab. Yeah,
the best worst fighter in the world, him, Derek Lewis.
Oh yeah, Alan Jobin versus Dwight Grant.
Good looking man, Alan Jobin.
He is.
Sure, it should be fun.
Isn't
Khalil Roundtree fighting Eric Anders?
Yeah, that's
what weight is that at? Is that light heavyweight? Doesn't say. I think it's light heavyweight. He used to fight at middleweight though. Yeah, that's a good fight. Eric Anders is obviously a really, really good athlete, having been in American football and stuff.
Fruit Pastille.
Fruit Pastille? I don't know.
Roundtree.
Roundtree, okay. Yeah, Roundtree's Fruit Pastille. I like it. But yeah, that should be a fun fight. And is that the third fight from the top?
Yeah.
It's not a great card, is it?
No.
It's not a great card, but we have two great fights in the
Israel Adesanya versus Kelvin Gastelum.
Yeah, it's an interesting fight. I've talked about it lots now at this stage. But it's a funny fight. Like, when a long guy is fighting a short guy, what do you think is going to happen? Like, what do you think the long guy will try to do?
Well, distance and reach.
Yeah. I don't think that's the case. I think it's the opposite of that. I don't think he'll want to keep Kelvin Gastelum at the end of his jab, or will try to do it, because I think Kelvin Gastelum is really good at getting inside a jab. If you watch any of his old fights, he like swats away the jab, or he punches the jab, he keeps away. His hand fighting is excellent. He might be the best in the world at hand fighting and getting inside of a jab. You know, that's how he's such a small guy and he does so well against big guys. So I think Adesanya might abandon that a little bit and come with more high kicks over the top, come with the right hand, maybe that neo footwork that people used to talk about before, kind of getting on the outside and coming in Dominic Cruz style or TJ Dillashaw style. I think you could see a little bit more movement out of him, a little bit more power coming from Israel Adesanya early. I think it has the makings of a really, really fun fight. Like, I suppose that's the striking side or whatever, and Gastelum can obviously come over the top and get inside if he does try to jab him with the left hand. But I think if Israel does fight him with kind of a jabbing lint style and he beats him, you can talk about Israel as one of the best fighters in the world, because if he beats Gastelum in that area, I think it's absolutely phenomenal. And then kind of on the ground in the takedowns as well. Adesanya's takedown defense has improved so much. Just watch the fight. I guarantee you, if he tries to get a takedown Gastelum, he'll get the overhook on the left side and he'll try to control the wrist with his right hand. So he'll try to move out. That's what he does every time now. Gets his back against the fence and gets away. It's proven that he can do it over and over again. He did it against Eric Brunson. Will Gastelum try to be able to get him down before he gets that overhook? That's the big question there. But
like, Gastelum's going to know what you know, so he's going to be trying to.
And Adesanya, I'm sure Adesanya will look at it from Gastelum's point of view, looking at Adesanya as well.
It's like a poker or something.
It is. It's very interesting. Very interesting matchup, I think. Yeah, it should be fun. I think Adesanya will win though. Who do you think?
Adesanya, Kelvin does dangerous.
He rises to the occasion. Like.
He does. Chael Sonnen trains with him. He said that he always fights.
Up.
He's just lazy in training and everything, but then he fights way better than you think he would. Yeah, and it depends on what mood he's in as well. Yeah. So we have Poirier versus Max Holloway.
Who do you think will win it?
Max.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't know. I keep picking Poirier, but I don't want to. Like, I try to stop myself picking people. I just like to look at what I think will happen. And what I think is so interesting in this fight is just that this fight is really going to be a fight in the middle of the cage. I think, like, Max Holloway is the best in the world. There's the kind of the cage here, and then there's the inner ring here between the middle. Max Holloway is the best at fighting in this distance here between the middle of the cage and the inner ring. Yeah. He's excellent at that, and he makes it a phone booth fight in that area, even against guys who don't want to do it. He's just so excellent at doing it. And what Poirier is good at is someone who kind of puts that pressure on in the middle of the cage. He's good at meeting that pressure and beating him right there. He did it against Justin Gaethje, who is not as good a fighter as Max Holloway, but is a similar kind of go forward, get in your face type of fighter as Max Holloway, especially kind of when it comes into the later rounds with Holloway. Poirier's his jab is so excellent at meeting guys there. You know, when Max Holloway is attacking him, he's going to try to circle, and then Max is going to try to cut off the cage. And at that position here, where Max tries to cut off the cage and Poirier is coming across, that's where the fight will be won and lost, I think. And that's where Poirier is absolutely excellent. That's why I think he'll win the fight, barely. But if Max Holloway beats him in that area, he'll win the fight as well. Or if Max, if Max can back him up against the cage, if he can stop kind of those, I wouldn't call them counters really, because they're attacking shots, but he's kind of countering the area more than countering the actual shots themselves. I think it's a fascinating fight, really, and it's going to be in the middle of the cage.
Like, in the first fight, he lost by submission, didn't he? and he almost had him in an arm bar, and
I'd write that totally off. Like,
yeah, but when you
jiu-jitsu
exactly.
might be the leveler. Yeah,
So,
if the fight gets to the
like,
ground, who's going to have better
Max
jiu-jitsu?
Holloway beat in his last fight? Like one of the
Brian
best
Ortega.
jiu-jitsu players in the UFC. So you'd expect that he wouldn't get caught like that anymore. You know, so that just shows how far he's come along from being submitted by Poirier to beating one of the best jiu-jitsu guys.
True, yeah, it's 100% true.
So that's
there's also he's gone up to 155 pounds as well, Max is. So let's see how that looks on him. Will he look better? Will he look worse? You know, that's an interesting thing as well. But it's just such a great fight. I think Poirier needs to throw in a few takedowns. He needs to go for a few early to get Max thinking, and then wait until Max kind of forgets about him, and then go for a few late again. Because I think that's an interesting thing, because I don't think lads do that well enough, to be honest. Any fighter, they you know, and Khabib maybe did a little bit against McGregor when he didn't go for a takedown barely in the third round, and then got him again in the fourth round. I think lads need to forget about their takedowns a little bit, and then come back to him and have that pre-planned before. That should be a game plan, I think, going into the fight.
Did Khabib do it for that reason, or do you think he was just feeling so comfortable on the feet he said, look, I can beat him standing up?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. You'd have to ask him, and he probably wouldn't tell you the truth anyway. But whether he's
done that a few times, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Whether he meant it or he didn't.
Fancies himself,
he did
like
against
wrestlers. He fancies himself as a boxer as well. And loads of wrestlers are like that. They get addicted to boxing.
If McGregor had the gas maybe in the third round, they could have been different. But in this fight, I think both lads will have the gas. Max Holloway has obviously proven that he can go into the third and fourth round and finish guys. Dustin Poirier finished Justin Gaethje in the fourth round as well, and all those questions from years ago about him maybe having a weak chin and stuff, I think have gone out the window, and him maybe not being having as much heart as other guys, I think they've gone out the window as well. And I think that has a lot to do with him moving to 155 pounds, because he just couldn't take the shots at 145 pounds, and I think he can take them a lot better now. The thing about this fight as well is, and I was talking to lads on Submission Radio about this as well. Remember, you watched that fight, I watched that fight. Their first fight, they look like children. Like, it was so long ago. And just think about, I think it's 7 years.
Poirier and everything.
Yeah, I think it's 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So imagine how much damage those lads have taken in that 7 years, in training, in fights. You know, just their body, their chin, their head. It could be a time where one of these lads fighting another one of the best fighters in the world who hits hard and goes forward and gets hit with a big shot and gets knocked out. It could happen in this fight. This could be the fight. Either of them. So it's
Max Holloway's not a big power puncher, though, is he? He's more a numbers guy more than...
Yeah, but he ups his output late.
Yeah, he knows how to finish you as well. If he sees you anywhere rocked.
Adesanya's like that as well. If he gets any sort of a chance, he picks his shots very well, but he finishes guys as well when he gets a chance.
That video came out. Did you see where his son, Mini Blessed, was kind of a... He shouted at him in between rounds when he finished, you know, the round before he finished
Ortega. He said he was gonna finish him.
Yeah, and he was like waving at him, and he just went out and put it on him, like put the numbers on him. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
Jeez, that was
I'm really looking forward to this fight.
He's tough as hell.
Like the thing about this is, I think Max beats Khabib.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if he beats Poirier. And if he does beat Poirier, I think he's the best pound for pound fighter in the world, and he needs to fight Khabib next. And oh god, that fight would be unbelievable. Like, if even win or lose this weekend, I need Max Holloway versus Khabib at some stage. I really it's like Jose Aldo versus Khabib a few years ago. I needed that fight. We never got it. We need Max Holloway versus Khabib. We really do, and I hope we get it at some stage.
Did I know you, Jose Aldo? Did he have the forward pressure that time as well? That would have
against. Did Holloway have it against Aldo?
No. Jose Aldo versus Khabib when Jose a few years ago.
That's
like you were saying the takedown defense is good, but you were saying also you need forward pressure to beat Khabib. Did he have that forward pressure?
There's two ways of beating Khabib. Either stop the takedown by having forward pressure to beat him.
T-bow kind of style, or
the Glason T-bow is the other style.
It's the other one. Oh yeah.
Stop the takedown. You know, if you can stop the takedown, like I think Jose Aldo, maybe, I don't know if he could have, because MMA has moved on a little bit, but that's why I wanted to see if he could. Glason T-bow stopped the takedown, and he won that fight. Like, okay, he didn't win on the cards or whatever, but he stopped the takedown. He did what Adesanya does all the time. He got the overhook on the one side and he controlled the wrist on the other side, and that's so hard to do against Khabib. But if you can catch that overhook, pull him up, get him up, control the wrist, he can't take you down. I don't care how good he is. Okay, he'll try with body locks and stuff like that. Maybe, he'll get you down with a body lock, and maybe you have to be a bigger guy like Glason T-bow, very physically strong.
Unusually strong.
But that's how you stop him. But Aldo does it a different way. He's so reactive. He's so good with his legs, getting him back out so you can't take him down. The sprawl and brawl style we saw from years ago, and that's effective. Like, it works. Would it work against Khabib? Who knows? But that's why I thought he could win. But probably the best way to do it, I think, is forward pressure and not letting Khabib come forward and get those takedowns against you. Because if they're kind of reactive takedowns while you're getting pushed forward,
dropping
and while,
for a single or something like that.
Yeah, and while you're used of stopping big takedowns, I think that's a lot harder for Khabib to be successful in, and especially when you're fighting like someone like Max Holloway.
Takedowns are coming at you, aren't they? And try a double leg and or against the fence.
Yeah, he's good everywhere, but I think forward pressure is the way. Just keep him so that he's throwing the takedowns when you want him to throw the takedown, so you can see him coming. I think that's what you need to do against Khabib. But look, who knows?
No, that's it. All right. Great card to look forward to the weekend.
There is. Very fun. All right, everybody. Thanks very much for listening. Sign up on Patreon, patreon.com/SevereMMA podcast. We'll be back with another one of these. If you have any questions or anything, let us know. Send them into Patrick. What's your @Patchy in MMA, isn't it? We fucked it up the last time.
Yeah.
@Patchy in MMA. @SevereMMA pod. @Sean Sheehan BA. Thanks very much for watching and listening. Tell a friend. Spread it out. We'll see you all next time.